Hi, friends. Hi, guys. Hello. 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 Uh, okay. So let me go in and say hi to everyone. I think I got everything ready to roll. Hey, Chaloon. Chaloon came in hot. She's like, I'm going to try my hand at this. Is this thing on? Welcome, one and all, to this magical place we call the Crime Cafe. Differences in opinions are cool as long as we stay cordial in the process. Love it. And do all the YouTubey things that you do so well. DNA all up on that thumbs up button. Yes, 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 yes. I was running a few minutes behind because I was making some coffee. I got my coffee. My coffee. Mm, it's nice and hot. Hey, Steph. Chaloon says, I'm curious, how did Poppy do with all the fireworks? She actually did okay. I mean, there were fireworks that you could hear in the distance, but not like we just kept her in the house. I let her stay in here in the bedroom, covered up, and she was fine. She did have to smell us and kiss us and lick us and all that when we all came back in, though, because, she had to make sure we were okay and didn't get blown up or anything. No, you didn't miss anything. Ooh, you're about to hop in the car. Okay. Safe travels. YouTube made it look like it started 31 minutes ago. Well, it probably sent you a notification that I was going live in 30 minutes. And you guys, I've been taking my allergy medicine, but I'm still sneezing my head off. So, if I have to pause and sneeze, I'm sorry. I got a tissue ready. Hey, Henny, good to see you. Hey, Patricia. I know, Steph. I specifically wore because today we're going to be talking about Matthew Perry. Okay, I did a dive last night into some stuff. I don't know if a lot of you guys may have already heard about this, but it's been brewing for a few days. About Matthew Perry. So I had to wear my friend's t-shirt today. I had to wear my friend's t-shirt today. I had to wear it in honor of Matthew Perry, right? Chandler Bing. Um, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey Lee. Lee comes in and takes out the trash and puts in all the yummy foods, all the yummy snacks, including that Jif chocolate peanut butter. Yum. Thank you, Lee. It said it started 30 minutes. No, it didn't. That's so dumb. YouTube told you a fib. Told you a big old fib, ma'am. All right. So today, welcome everyone. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on into the Crime Cafe. Pull up a seat, grab a snack, cup of coffee, and let's chat. All right. So we have on I almost said on tap today, right? It did start 9 minutes ago and 22 seconds. YouTube's a whole lie. They're a whole crap lie, right? We miss our QB, by the way. QB is not feeling the bestest. Um, so today we're going to talk about Matthew Perry. We know back it was in October, I think, of last year, that child is out there hollering, but her daddy's home, so I'm good in the hood right now. He passed away, I think it was in October of last year. Big shock. I'm a huge Friends fan. I know a lot of people are, right? And So whenever the story broke of his passing away in October, it crushed me, right? There are a handful of celebrities that have passed away that really affected me. Do you guys feel are you guys I think Steph and I was talking about this last night. It was Steph. Um, Steph and I were talking about that last night. My mouth is dry. Um, feel better, QB said Chaloon if she watches the replay, maybe. Hey, Miss King. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, friend. Um, but do you guys name them in the chat? If you guys have a celebrity, is there a certain celebrity that passed away and it really bothered you? Name them in the chat. Um, list them in the chat. I would love to know your guys' thoughts. I know that it sounds so like weird and goofy or whatever, because we grieve the ones we love when they pass away, right? Why would we grieve over a celebrity when we've never met them in real life, right? But I think for me, it is I connect them with the way that they made me feel, right? And so that's what I'm grieving. I'm grieving them and their story, but I'm also grieving them because of the way that they made me feel. Um, oh, Spins, Naomi Judd. Spins. Hi, Spins. How are you, girly? It was very sad when Jimmy Buffett died. Oh my gosh. I forgot about that. I love Jimmy Buffett too, Miss King. Steph says Matthew Perry, Heath Ledger, Brittany Murphy, as I said last night. Yeah. Yep. Robin Williams, too. That was a hard one. Hey, Anxiety Art Adventures. Hey, girl. It's good to see you, Laura. Christopher Reeves. That was a good one, too. That was tough. Mm. Yes, yes, yes. Also the first main actor of Spartacus, and yes, Robin Williams, and Chester from Lincoln Park. Mm. So, the 3 that I think of for me off the top of my head is Matthew Perry, being the most recent. Well, I mean, you guys, I have to say, I can't forget Leslie Jordan, okay? I loved Leslie Jordan. I love that man. Um, I love everything about Leslie Jordan. But besides him, it was Matthew Perry, and then the other 2 that I really struggled when they passed away was Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston. And, I think it like I said, I think it's just because of, um, I don't know, I think it's just because of how they make us feel. They put us back in a certain time in our life, that kinda thing. But yeah, those are the ones for me. Okay, I'll say Leslie Jordan, Matthew Perry, Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson. I really struggled with Michael Jackson. That broke me. Broke me. I cried so hard when he passed away. Um Elizabeth says I'm still mourning the loss of my sanity. Girl, I feel that. I feel that. I feel that. Mhm. Mm. All right. So, again, I'm wearing my friend's shirt in honor of our beloved Chandler Bing. Um, but a couple yesterday, I started seeing things popping up into, and we all knew that he allegedly had passed away in his hot tub in his home. from an accidental overdose. Well, it was a combination of an accidental overdose and drowning because he was in his hot tub, right? He did have some other health issues, but my nose is running. Elizabeth said, celebrity wise, though, I only got upset when I learned that John Lennon was dead. I miss my mind the least, says Lee. You crack me up. So whenever he had passed away, I was like, fine. I was like, okay, dude, you know, it happened. It's a sad accident. Things like this happen. It's not uncommon, right? But then I started seeing these little bleeps, not bleeps like expletive bleeps, but more like tweets and Twitter stuff and stuff coming across YouTube and about celebrities being investigated in his death. And I'm like, wait, what? I didn't know about this. And so then I started watching stuff and looking, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So, I have a couple of videos that I want to share and kind of review and talk about with you guys. And then I also um, have an article, but let's get to it. Okay. Oh, and last night I also bought, I can't believe I hadn't already bought it, but I bought, um, hold on and let me grab it. Um, hold on, I'm going to put it in the chat. All right. So there is, his book is on Amazon, which I don't know. Let me know if you guys have already read it. I have not read it yet, but I just bought the book last night, and I had some Audible credits, so I also got the Audible version of it, um, and he is reading it. It's his voice reading the book. So I wanted to like have the physical book. I got the hardcover, but then I also, while I'm reading it, I want him to read. You know what I mean? Like I want to hear him read it as I'm reading it. So, um, that link in the chat is like an Amazon affiliate link, just an FYI. But um, let me see. Hold on a minute. I want to share this because I want you guys to hear this. Present, share. Okay. I got the hardcover, but like I said, I also got the audio book, the Audible. But I want you guys to hear this. Let me know if you can hear this. Um, let me know if you guys can hear that.
Back. By this point, I knew more about drug addiction and alcoholism than any of the coaches and most of the doctors I encountered at these facilities.
Can you guys hear that? Can you hear him? Let me know if you can hear him. Okay, good. You can hear it. All right. Awesome. Okay. I'm just gonna let this play because I think it's like 5 minutes long.
Unfortunately, self-knowledge avails you nothing. If the golden ticket to sobriety involved hard work,
So just an FYI, the book is called Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. So the book, he's talks a lot, I guess, about his struggle with sobriety and addiction and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I think this portion is talking about.
and learned information, this beast would be nothing but a faint, unpleasant memory. To simply stay alive, I turned myself into a professional patient. Let's not sugarcoat it. At 49, I was still afraid to be alone. Left alone, my crazy brain, crazy only in this area, by the way, would find some excuse to do the unthinkable, drink and drugs. In the face of decades of my life having been ruined by this, I'm terrified of doing it again. I have no fear of talking in front of 20,000 people, but put me alone on my couch in front of the TV for the night, and I get scared. And that fear is of my own mind, fear of my own thoughts, fear that my mind will urge me to turn to drugs as it has so many times before. My mind is out to kill me, and I know it. I am constantly filled with a lurking loneliness, a yearning, clinging to the notion that something outside of me will fix me. But I had had all that the outside had to offer. Julia Roberts is my girlfriend. It
Mm.
doesn't matter, you have to drink. I just bought my dream house. It looks across the whole city. Can't enjoy that without a drug dealer. I'm making $1 million a week. I win, right? Would you like to have a drink? Why, yes, I would. Thank you very much. I'd had it all, but it was all a trick. Nothing was going to fix this. It would be years before I even grasped the notion of a solution. Please don't misunderstand me. All of those things, Julia and the dream house and $1 million a week, were wonderful, and I will be eternally grateful for all of them. I'm the luckiest man on the planet, and boy, did I have fun. They just weren't the answer. If I had to do it all over again, would I still audition for Friends? You bet your ass I would. Would I drink again? You bet your ass I would. If I didn't have alcohol to soothe my nerves and help me have fun, I would have leaped off a tall building sometime in my 20s. My grandfather, the wonderful Alton L. Perry, grew up around an alcoholic father, and as a result, he never touched a drink in his life, all 96 long, wonderful years of it. I am not my grandfather. I don't write all of this so anyone will feel sorry for me. I write these words because they're true. I write them because someone else may be confused by the fact that they know they should stop drinking. Like me, they have all the information and they understand the consequences, but they can't stop drinking. You're not alone, my brothers and sisters. In the dictionary under the word addict, there should be a picture of me looking around very confused. In the sober living house in Southern California, I had a view of West LA and 2 queen-sized beds. The other bed was occupied by my assistant and best friend, Erin, a lesbian whose friendship I treasure because it brings me the joy of female companionship without the romantic tension that has seemed to ruin my friendships with straight women. Not to mention, we can talk about hot women together. I met her 2 years earlier at another rehab where she had been working at the time. I didn't get sober back then, but I saw how wonderful she was in every way and promptly stole her from the sober living rehab and made her my assistant. And she became my best friend. She too understood the nature of addiction and would come to know my struggles better than any doctor I'd ever seen. Despite the comfort that Erin brought to the situation, I still spent many sleepless nights in Southern California. Sleep is a real issue for me, especially when I'm in one of those places. That said, I don't think I've ever slept more than 4 hours straight in my entire life. It didn't help that we'd been watching nothing but prison documentaries, and I was coming off so much Xanax, my brain had fried to the point where I was convinced that I was an actual prisoner and that this sober living place was an actual jail. I have a shrink whose mantra is,
All right. So that was the example of the Audible version read by Matthew Perry. And I agree, Laura. He sounds damaged. Yeah, he does. Oh, by the way, I added the cafe to a second page of the schedule for those that have a second channel. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, Lee. That's very sweet. Very, very sweet. All right. So let me scooch over here to the Daily Mail. We're going to look at this article. Lord, look at the ads. Man, they pepper the ads hardcore on this website, don't they? Look at this. Goodness gracious, the ads. They're like boom, 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 boom. It's like playing hide and seek with the article. Like, where's the actual article? Laura says, I think that would be an interesting read. Listen, I think so too. That's why I bought the book and the Audible version. Because, like I said, I want to be able to read along with him as he reads it, because that helps me. If I read something, my brain doesn't absorb it. And if I listen to something, my brain absorbs it a little bit better, but not always. And so I think listening to it while reading it will be very helpful to me. Okay, this article, like I said, is from the Daily Mail. I know a lot of people are like, meh, on Daily Mail because they're kind of a sensationalized, you know, magazine, so to speak. But the information in here is pretty valid compared to every other article I've read. So, and this was posted yesterday on July 4th, updated at 10:44 today. So I don't know how they updated it or what they changed or whatever, but it should be a pretty up-to-date article. All right. So the second female celebrity has been linked. So there's been one celebrity that they have mentioned so far into the investigation of Matthew Perry's death. Sources are not saying that she criminally did anything to him or caused his death, but that she may know things, like potentially where he got the ketamine and stuff like that. So what was found in his system whenever they did his autopsy was large amounts of ketamine. And ketamine is I had never really heard of ketamine before until the whole Take Care of Maya trial. You guys remember Maya, the young girl that had the I can't remember what the name of the disease was. But that's what she was taking, and very large doses of it as well. Anyway, he's not taking it for the same reasons. They say ketamine can be given in therapeutic doses. That was one word I used yesterday. in the other live stream. When we were talking about Lexi, CRPS. Okay. Thank you, Henny. It's regional regional pain syndrome. But that's not what Matthew Perry had. He was taking it for anxiety and depression. But he was getting, like, they were lowering his dosage, and apparently he was going in like weekly or every week and a half for an infusion. But in the autopsy, they said that the amount of ketamine that was in his system was enough to have been put under general, like, it was enough, the same amount of dose as you would use to put someone under general anesthesia for, like, surgery, okay? Kinda like the whole Michael Jackson thing, where they were like, he was completely out, right? Um, and so that's why they think that he went into such a deep sleep, um, that he literally drowned in his hot tub, which is horrific. Um, but his physician that was treating him with the ketamine said that there was no way that with the dosage that he was getting every week or week and a half, it would have been out of his system by then. So, basically, he would have been having to have taken to be taking ketamine often, and it would have had to have been, for there to have been that much, it would have had to have been like the same day, right? At that time, shortly before he died. You saw it pop up last night. Yeah. People are talking about it. Chaloon says, I'm sure his tolerance was pretty high, but not that much. Yikes. Pretty picture, by the way. I see you changed your picture. I love it, Chaloon. Love it. Pretty, pretty girl. All right. So, but they're saying that we'll get into the meat and potatoes of it. But one of the celebrities, there's apparently 2 female celebrities that they've talked about. One of them has been named, the other one has not been named, and I don't know who the second celebrity is that they're talking about yet. But the first one is Brooke Mueller, who dated Matthew Perry at some point after they both got out of rehab at some time or another, but she was married to Charlie Sheen at some point also. But they served a search warrant to her, and allegedly took her, phone and laptop or something. But we're gonna read about that. Chaloon says, "I'm out of hiding." No need to hide. All right. So here it says a second female celebrity has been linked to Matthew Perry's drug-induced death investigation, a bombshell report about their shared addiction. That sentence didn't feel like it made, like, fluid sense. An investigation by the LAPD into Perry's fatal ketamine overdose has uncovered involvement by another friend, In Touch reports. The as yet unnamed woman was allegedly claiming to be sober, but was a walking pharmacy, according to a source. I don't know what that video is supposed to be. Photo evidence has reportedly emerged showing the woman with Perry at the office of a doctor who was prescribing him ketamine. The two would refer to each other to their respective doctors in order to obtain the drug and would often confide in each other about their addiction battles, the source claimed. Um, there he is, needing a really good shave, right? He needs a really good shave right there. A second female celebrity has been linked to Matthew Perry's drugs death. Here it says if the feds had either one of their phones, especially the second celebrity's, because she doesn't erase her text messages, they would probably find conversations about the drug and how can I get extra? Like it will not look good for the celebrity, the source said. The anonymous celebrity is the second to be linked to Perry's death after Charlie Sheen's ex wife, Brooke Mueller, was named. So, like I said, there's Brooke Mueller, and then apparently another female celebrity friend of his that has not yet been named. I'm so eager to know who that is. Perry was found unresponsive in the hot tub of his LA home on October 28th. Okay, I knew it was in October, I just couldn't remember the day. 2023, and died at the age of 54. God. He died from acute effects of ketamine and drowning, his autopsy revealed, with the actor having similar quantities of ketamine in his system as a hospital patient under general anesthetic. The actor had been open about receiving ketamine infusion therapy as treatment for depression. And then this here, says Matthew Perry pictured in his hot tub in his final Facebook post prior to his October 2023 death. Apparently, this is a photo he took and posted, like, literally right before he died. Like, he died right after he took this photo or shortly thereafter. There's remember them saying specifically that that day, I can't remember exactly how the day went, but I know that he, like, played in a pickleball tournament. Is that what it's called? Pickleball? Um, is that what he was playing? Pickleball? Is that what it's called? I can't remember if that's what it's called, but it was something like that. Um, and then went home. Apparently, an assistant of his came over and ran some errands for him, come back, or I can't remember exactly how that day went for him, but I remember he had done some kind of physical activity, like a sport tournament or something that day. And then, you know, um, that would be good too, Laura. That would be really good. Okay. And then here's aerial footage where Matthew Perry was found dead. He was over here. So this is his home in LA. And this is his, like, swimming pool. But then here in the red circle is the hot tub area, and that's where he was at. Mm. Hold on, let me wait for this ad to We'll watch this. I don't know if I hope you guys can see it. Yeah, you can. Okay. I don't know if there's any audio to it or not, but it just says it's like a 2-minute aerial view. It's got a beautiful home. Beautiful home. You can see the news trucks out in the yard or in the road. So sad. Okay. Wow. Look at the view. Beautiful home. Beautiful home. All right. Let's continue on. Says, but the last session, his ketamine session, I'm assuming. Yeah. Okay. Here it says, but the last session was a week and a half before he died. And the ketamine is only in your system for 3 to 4 hours, which means it did not lead directly to his death. The session that he had the week and a half before. A criminal probe was launched to establish how the star could have obtained the drug. It later emerged Mueller had been interviewed multiple times by the LAPD after she and Perry reportedly bonded during stays in rehab. She was never arrested or handcuffed regarding the inquiries, with sources telling In Touch that she has been cooperating with the criminal investigation. Mueller, 46, has had various issues with substance abuse over the years. In July of 2011, she underwent a rehab program. 2 years later, her children were removed from her home because of suspected drug use. Mueller re-entered rehab at that time. So there's a picture of her with her husband then, Charlie Sheen. Hey, Jenny Trioli. Hey, 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 hey. Good to see you. Pretty girl. She's a pretty girl. Charlie Sheen's ex-wife, Brooke Mueller, 46, was the first celebrity to be mentioned in relation to the investigation into Perry's death. Oh, I love that. God, makes me want to go back and binge watch every single season all over again. The news came after a separate report that said investigators could charge multiple people in relation to the actor's death. His passing stunned the showbiz world and broke the hearts of fans across the globe. At the time of his death, Perry's personal wealth was at 1.5 million. He also had 120 million trust fund with his family and ex-girlfriend Rachel Dunn as beneficiaries. All right. So that is the article. Oh, Jenny, right? She said, this case breaks my whole heart. Chandler was my dream man, LOL. Exactly my type. I love him so much. No kids that I know of. Laura, oh, he never had kids, right? Not that I know of. I don't think so. It breaks my heart too. So Jenny Trioli. I wore my friend's shirt today in honor of this live stream. I love him. I have a lot of friends things, like lots of like friends memorabilia, right? Like I have magnets. I've got little minders, that are all friends related. Um I just have a bunch of friends things. I think everybody does, right? Like I think I know of one person in my life that doesn't like Friends, and that's Abigail Marie. So, but all right. I want to watch Um, this. So, do you guys know? Um, did you guys know that Keith Morrison, our very own favorite true crime storyteller ever, it was Matthew Perry's stepdad? Did you guys know that? Um, I didn't know that at the time when we heard about his death. I found out then that Keith Morrison was his stepdad, and I was like, "What?" Um, but apparently, um, Keith Morrison is very much, looking for answers, right? Jenny said, "I so want to rewatch Friends uh, from the beginning, and I have a Hulu Disney Plus premium subscription that's $20 a month, and Friends is not included." That's so bad. That's so bad. Yeah, his stepdad is Keith Morrison. Laura says, "What?" Shaking my head. I know. Can you believe she doesn't like it? I don't know of anybody else in my life that doesn't like Friends. Mm-mm. There's something very wrong with our friend there, Laura. All right. So we have this is a short interview with Keith Morrison. And it's very sweet. It's very sweet. You don't know who Keith Morrison is, Steph? You will when you see him. He's the one that does all the Dateline. It was a dark and rainy night. I mean, yeah, you do. You when you see his face, you'll go like, "Oh yeah, I know who he is." Lee doesn't like Friends either. I give you a pass. I'll give you a pass because that doesn't surprise me. Um, I listened to MP's memoir on audiobook, so in his voice was so powerful. Jenny, at the beginning of the stream, we listened to the audio sample from Amazon for the Audible book, and I literally just bought last night the physical hardcover book, but I also is it Dateline that he's on? I mean, I think you'll know him when you see him. Um, I ain't got no time for Dateline. Don't FOMO me. But anyway, Jenny Trioli, what I was saying was I bought the physical hardcover book from Amazon last night, but I also got the Audible version because I was telling everybody in chat that I want to read the book along with him while he's reading it. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to see the words on the book as he's reading it to me, just because I think that my brain will um absorb it better. But all right, let's get to this interview so that we can let Steph see who Keith Morrison is, because we all know she knows who he is, right? Okay, here we go.
Hello, I'm Keith Morrison.
There you go, Steph. You know who he is now, right? Gotta wait on Steph to tell me. She's either gonna say, "Oh, that guy," or "Never seen him a day in my life." Hmm. Come on, Steph, tell me. Julian, you've never seen him either? Okay, I def do, said Steph. Yeah, I knew you would. I knew you would know him. Yeah, I knew you would know him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody. Well, except for Chaloon, apparently. All right, let's listen to this. I'm gonna use we're just gonna pause every little bit and discuss it. This is from the Today Show, and they're a big and massive network, and I don't want to, I don't want them to like strike this content. So um I'm going to use a fair use disclaimer here, and we're going to chit chat about this video. Seen him here and there, never knew his name. Making me type on the highwayman. Okay, stop it, Steph. I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were still driving.
And this is a Dateline mini mystery.
GQ calls him the granddaddy of true crime. He's regularly parodied on SNL.
What did they find when they opened up the trunk of that car?
Okay, so they're playing an SNL skit here. And you guys know what happened to me the last time I played a bunch of SNL stuff. They like cut me off at the knees. Oh, they were like, no, ma'am, no ham, no turkey. So we're definitely going to stop and have a little commentary discussion. I remember seeing Keith Morrison being parodied on SNL. But I don't remember like this specific one.
Was my boyfriend's body.
Oh, my.
And crowds of true crime-obsessed fans stop him for selfies at events like CrimeCon and South by Southwest.
All right, CrimeCon, I would give I would pay money to go to CrimeCon. They're saying tickets are like $350, $400. That's steep. That's a lot of money. But I would totally go if it was close enough to me, you know? Now I gotta see if Dateline is on Hulu, but not today because on the way to pick up kiddo. Quit typing in the chat, ma'am, if you're driving. You're only allowed to do that when you're stopped.
I just don't get it at all, but it's quite nice. People are very nice to me.
Keith, humble since the day I met him, won't say it himself, but the attention is very much warranted. Over the last handful of years, Dateline has exploded with 11 #1 original podcasts and 1.4 billion downloads.
I mean, there you go. That's exactly why I did see it was going to be in Denver. I remember that now. I was like, God, it was just in where? Was it in Tennessee? This year it was in Tennessee, right? Jenny Trioli says, were you shocked by the Karen Reed hung jury? Nope. No. Nope. So last year, were you, Jenny? I mean, okay, I will say that I was fully expecting a not guilty, but after they did the whole like rigmarole, and kept sending notes to Bev saying, we can't make a decision, we can't agree. And they kept doing that whole thing. And then whenever they came back and finally was like, no, we can't come. I wasn't shocked then. Nashville this year. Okay, it was in Nashville. And they have it in a different place every year. I think it was in Vegas, was it the year before? I could be wrong. Nashville this year and then Denver next year. See, I'd have been better. I don't know. I don't know. Yes, CrimeCon. You're opened up to a whole new world. Mm, um, but yeah, it's CrimeCon is a conference. It's like a big. It's kind of like, well, I mean, it's just like any of the other like Comic Con, um, but CrimeCon. It's a massive and like all the like big name brand, big um named celebrity true crime people go, like he goes. There's a lot of YouTube creators go that are, have large um channels. And then there's CrimeCon UK. I didn't know that. Oh, Patricia, I get it. I think that's why Abigail doesn't care for it, because she's probably very close to your age. I was more into What I Like About You, 8 Simple Rules, King. I liked King of Queens and Everybody Loves Raymond. I like those shows too. But then at CrimeCon, you also have a lot of families of people who are missing. Um, was it John Benet Ramsey's dad that was there this time? Um, Nancy Grace is there. Vinny Politan, like all the news people that cover crime related stories. It's a big deal. Podcasters, yeah, like a bunch of people go. But the tickets are outrageous just to go, like, and they sell out super fast. Nancy Grace is a trip. We're getting ready to watch some Nancy Grace because she talks about this, and I want to watch her talk about this investigation. I personally love Nancy Grace. I know a lot of people don't like her. I love her. Vinny is super short, really? I would have never thought that. Hmm, okay. All right. Let's get back to this because I want you guys to hear what he says about Matthew Perry.
Keith's famous voice, the main character.
These are great stories, and you're unshackled when you're doing podcast storytelling. So I love doing them.
Keith joined the Friday News Magazine in 1995 after a career at both NBC and in Canadian TV. Over the span of his more than 50-year career.
Wow, look at him there. He's a baby. He's so young and handsome. I mean, he's still handsome. But look at that. Look at that baby face. And also, I didn't know that he had any like connection to Canada. Did you know that?
Keith has covered stories worldwide, interviewing everyone from veterans to student protesters in Tiananmen Square to the biggest names in entertainment. But for the last several years, true crime has taken center stage. Keith's upcoming project, Murder in the Hollywood Hills, is about a band of women who would come face to face with a killer. Off camera, Keith.
And that right there, that's pretty cool. The women. I want to hear that again. About his upcoming Murder in the Hollywood Hills.
Upcoming project, Murder in the Hollywood Hills, is about a band of women who would come face to face with a killer. Off camera, Keith lives a relatively quiet life in California with his wife of 43 years, Suzanne. Together, they've raised 6 kids, including.
See, look, he's been married to Matthew Perry's mom for 43 years. And that's a picture of Matthew Perry here with his other siblings and his mama. Crazy. Look at the face. Sweet. Looks like they're celebrating somebody's birthday and they've got brownies, it looks like.
The late actor Matthew Perry, who was just 10 when Keith and Suzanne married.
I never tried to replace his dad, but I was there for him, and he knew it, and we were close.
Their family suffering an unimaginable loss in October of 2023. How are you and how is your wife after Matthew's passing?
Well, it's a as other people have told me hundreds of times, it doesn't go away. It's with you every day. It's with you all the time. And there's some new aspect of it that assaults your brain. And
when I heard this, it hit me whenever he said that about what are you telling her to chill for? Well, what are you telling Hoda to chill for? Oh, fine, because she told how old he was. I see now. Yeah, he's got a great voice. But whenever he said that there are certain aspects of it that assault your, I don't know if he said brain or heart, every day. And whenever he said that, it really, like, I get that. I feel that. And it does feel like an assault, right? It does. When you have someone that passes and then you have different parts and pieces of that are, hard to get through. Steph says, yeah, because I just had said 9, and then she's like, he was 10. I want to hear Keith say this again, though.
As other people have told me hundreds of times, it doesn't go away. It's with you every day. It's with you all the time. And there's some new aspect of it that assaults your brain. And, it's not easy. It's especially for his mom. Toward the end of his life, they were closer than I've seen them.
His mama. It's a good picture, right?
Decades, and texting each other constantly. And so he was happy, and he said so. And he hadn't said that for a long time. It's a source of comfort, but also, he didn't get to have his third act, and it's not fair. As he said himself, if I suddenly died, people would be shocked, but not too many people would be surprised. And he was right, I think.
Did it surprise you?
It was the news you never want to get, but you think someday you might. So yes and no, I guess, is the answer to that.
Yeah. Do you still feel his presence? Do you sense him?
We do this. This become this funny trope of Dateline. Lit up a room, right? Or the center of the room. Well, he was, and he was always the center of attention everywhere he went. That kind of personality.
I love to see. It's so strange to see pictures of him. Because we're used to seeing the young Chandler Bing, and then we're used to seeing the like middle-aged Chandler Bing towards the end of the Friends series, right? And then the older Chandler Bing. And it, to me, looks like he had a more difficult time covering up his addiction than when he was older than he did when he was younger. I mean, of course, it's easier when you're younger, right? But, I mean, he even said, I think in an interview that he did one time years ago, and maybe he mentions it in his book, I'm not positive, but he said that he would, come to work schmammered, right? Wasted, whether on alcohol or um, pills or whatever he was doing at the time. Very sad. Patricia says, so sad that people who bring so much joy to others are often sad or not taken care of by others the same way that they care for others. Right? I know. And I get the same kind of um, it was the same with like Robin Williams. Spin said Robin Williams earlier, and he was one of those. Robin Williams was um you really could tell earlier in the early seasons of Friends. Maybe I need to go back. I do want to go back and rewatch. Yeah. But Robin Williams spent so many years making everyone else happy. Um but on the inside he was miserable. Miserable.
He was goofy, he was funny, he was acerbic, but even if he didn't say a word, he was the center of attention. So yes, I mean, that's gone, but you still feel the echo of it everywhere.
Matthew's passing coming just a year after the release of his memoir, which chronicled the actor's ongoing battle with addiction.
As he put it himself in his book and in the talks that he had about his book, it is a disease, and it's a very, very difficult one to beat. He felt like he was beating it, but you never beat it. And he knew that too.
Keith, I'm really sorry.
Yeah, well, thank you.
I'm really sorry.
In the wake of Matthew's passing, family and friends have started a foundation in his name.
The goal is to do whatever can be done to help organizations rescue people in difficult situations and get them some help.
Keith doing in life what he does so well at work, amplifying the voices of others no longer here to tell their own story.
I still find it remarkable that you can be in a room with half a dozen other people, a couple of television cameras, lights everywhere, and the knowledge that what you're saying will be seen by millions of people, and they do trust us. These are truly, truly, truly deep and difficult things to get through. But I come away from those conversations feeling it's a gift. We're lucky people, you and I.
We are. We are.
Wow.
Isn't he?
Man. Mm-mm-mm. He was so honest in that book then. Yeah, right? I know.
First of all, if you loved Keith already,
Yeah.
you saw a whole other side to him. And he's never spoken about Matthew. And I was almost afraid to ask him about it. Because when you love someone so much, you're like, that's his private.
That was really good. I'd love to find the entire interview, but Elizabeth says, just look at his weight as the seasons go. The thinner he is, the deeper in his addiction. He was thin when he was younger, that's for sure. He certainly was. Okay. I'm going to find, let me grab this. Mhm, mhm. All right, so this is Nancy Grace. Um, this is Nancy Grace's video that she popped out last night, and I want to kind of review it with you guys. She has a few different like experts coming up on here. And then they talk a lot about the investigation part of it. And Steph, she also mentions in here, because I know last night we were talking, it was funny because I was basically telling Steph what I heard on the video that I watched. And Nancy Grace was talking about how the Los Angeles Police Department, the DEA, and the United States Postal Service, all three are doing this investigation, right? And Steph was like, "You mean they have police officers in the USPS?" But whenever Nancy explains it the way she explains it, it makes so much sense because um the deliveries and that kind of thing. Um that it's not like you can go into your local police, or not local, your local, post office and say, "Yo, I need to speak to a detective." It's not like that, Steph. But they do have a department, because um they're federal agencies. You know what I'm saying? But listen, we're gonna play this. This is super, super good. And Nancy makes a few really great points.
Breaking news tonight, Friends star Matthew Perry ODs dead in a hot tub. Are criminal charges looming in his death? Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. Thank you for being with us.
Bombshell. Investigators and law enforcement are looking to charge multiple suspects in the tragic ketamine death of Friends actor Matthew Perry.
I recall when prosecuting, ketamine, K, was equated with drugs that veterinarians used. But now it's very, very common on the street and even prescribed. But why are criminal charges looming in an OD, an overdose case? How is that working now that we know the cause of death has been ruled accidental? Listen.
The LAPD launching a criminal investigation into the death of Matthew Perry after the medical examiner's report is released and it's nearing its conclusion. A source close to the investigation tells people the police believe multiple people should be charged. The LAPD is working with the Drug Enforcement Administration, the DEA, and the U.S. Postal Inspectors attempting to find out where the ketamine that killed Matthew Perry came from.
Joining me, an all-star.
All right, there you go. But them saying that multiple people should be. So that kind of, I mean, all I know of that they talked about is the two celebrities. And like I said, I don't know if, Laura, I do know that they said that Keith Morrison did sort of probably had a hand in pressing for more information. I mean, I believe that. I don't know that that's true, but I would think so. Um, Steph said it's so weird. Sometimes she looks like a bad peach woman, and sometimes she looks like a crotchety old grandma. Yeah. Right. That's where they're coming from. So she talks about in here, they don't know specifically that they're wanting to press criminal charges on either of the celebrity females, or if it's just we need you to give us information, you know? Um so oh, absolutely, Laura. Yeah. The assistant. I feel like, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure, right, that they've interviewed that person. Right, Steph. Right. And so when they say multiple people, I'm thinking friends, like his friends, um, and um, what Nancy Grace and other experts in here call rogue doctors. Um, Let me go back and rewind it just a little bit because I want to hear this again.
Accidental. Listen.
The LAPD launching a criminal investigation into the death of Matthew Perry after the medical examiner's report is released and it's nearing its conclusion. A source close to the investigation tells people the police believe.
I don't think that the assistant is the unnamed woman because um they're saying the second woman is also a celebrity. So um and they said that that celebrity is a walking pharmacy, whatever that means. I mean, I know what that means, but you know. Um Here it says cause of death, acute effects of ketamine, drowning, coronary artery disease, and buprenorphine, buprenorphine. I don't know. Undergoing ketamine infusion therapy, prescribed buprenorphine for opioid use disorder, and then it says the police saying multiple people should be charged. So, yeah.
Multiple people should be charged. The LAPD is working with the Drug Enforcement Administration, the DEA, and the U.S. Postal Inspectors attempting to find out where the ketamine that killed Matthew Perry came from.
Joining me, an all-star panel to make sense of what we're learning right now. Are criminal charges looming in the overdose death of Friends star Matthew Perry? Now, we know
Right.
that there is a
Suboxone,
criminal
yeah.
investigation.
Yeah, Suboxone is a very common drug used for that, but I didn't know if that's what it was called, like the name brand of it, you know? Laura, what they're saying is he didn't have a script for the ketamine. He was getting ketamine infusions from his physician the right way. Like he was getting infusions, like I think he said every week and a half, something like that. But then the amount of ketamine that he had in his system when he passed away shows that he had ketamine that he was taking extra that he didn't have a script for, you know? Yeah. So that's where they want to know where the extra came from because the extra that he had was enough in his system that you would find being used in a hospital for a patient undergoing surgery for general anesthesia. So, That's why they're wanting to piece it together. They're wanting to piece together where this extra came from, and they're saying that they're in LA. I guess there's these rogue doctors who will just willy-nilly, kind of like with Michael Jackson, you know. Um so that's kind of that could probably is very possible that that's one of the um you know one of the possibilities. If there's many people to choose from, pill mills, right? Mm. Don't come for me, but I'm sure he knew it was a risk to take more. Oh, 100%. I believe that. Yeah. 100% believe that. 100. I mean, he took it. He, yeah, I don't believe that somebody went in there and like force fed it to him or like injected him with something or anything like that to like cause his death. I don't believe that. Um he totally did. I believe he took it himself and knew the risks.
Going on. Of who? Straight out to Lauren Conlon, investigative journalist, host of the Outlier podcast. You can find her at laurenconlon.com. Lauren, criminal charges. Now, I recall distinctly when I was prosecuting, there was a big buzz in the courthouse. Archie Bunker's in the courthouse.
Mm.
All in the Family was a huge TV show. My older brother, loved it, and he was the star. He went on to be the star of Heat of the Night, and just a great actor. His son died of an overdose, and he was in the Fulton County Courthouse pursuing a claim against the doper. And at that time, it was unheard of. Right now, we are hearing that criminal charges are looming in connection with Matthew Perry's death. What do you know?
I love when Nancy Grace always pulls out these like stories. She's a great storyteller. She pulls out things from her past that links to another, reminds her of another story. She does that a lot, and that's one of the reasons why I think I love her so much. Because I like to hear her be reminded of other things in her past.
Nancy, what we know is that Matthew Perry was getting treatment for depression through ketamine, but this type of treatment, I mean, it leaves your body within 2 to 3 hours. There are traces of ketamine. He was also weaning himself off of this treatment. So he hadn't been to this doctor or this place to get these treatments for over a week and a half. So when the autopsy report came out and it was stated that he had so much ketamine in his system, and I will let a doctor talk about how much, they were like, wait a second, where would one procure all of this? So it actually took his stepfather, journalist from Dateline, Keith Morrison, to say, hey, we probably should make this a criminal investigation here.
There you go. There you go, Laura. I thought I heard that. So there you go. That is one thing that kind of I do struggle with, but if he's weaning himself off of the medicine, right? And he goes a week and a half without the infusion. Is it a situation where he's like, "Oh, I really, really want it, and I want a good hefty dose of it because I want to feel really good right now," and he takes that much, knowing, "Hey, Ureli. Hi, Ureli. Look what I'm wearing, Ureli. Oh, hi." Um, so Um, I love you, Ureli. It's good to see you again. Um, but I wonder if he was like, I really want a good hefty dose. I want to feel nothing right now, right? Did he think that? Or was his frame of mind like, I want to take a little bit, and he thought he took a little bit? And is it a situation where the, that it was not laced, but that, you just got a jury summons. I'm low key excited. Ureli, that's awesome. Oh, that's awesome. Yay, fun for you. Oh, okay, Ureli. I'll be here listening. Mm. Okay, so back to the dosage of ketamine. I'm just wondering if it was a possibly um stronger than what he thought it, like he thought he was taking this much, but in reality he was um taking more than he expect. Mona, you can head on out of here. I don't need someone to tell me to stop babbling. If you don't like it here, you can leave. Sorry, but no, thank you, ma'am. Bye. Oh my God. This is a live stream. If you want to watch someone that can get on with it, then go watch a recorded video. There's plenty of them out there, ma'am. Okay. Hi, Margaret. Well, hi, Corbin. I'm glad that you're entertained. Jeez Louise. Mona offended me. Hey, Margaret, good to see you. Okay. So, back to it. Um and the name Corbon dioxide, that's pretty cool. I like that. Corbon dioxide. Okay. So, anyway, with the ketamine dosage, Mona needs a lesson in not being hateful. Jeez. Okay. I'm forgetting about it. Okay. They do. They do need to figure out who gave it to him, Laura. Thank you. But I'm with the ketamine, I don't know if that is a situation like I was saying, if it's one where he wanted to take a massive dose or if he wanted to take a normal dose and then ended up getting more than he thought he was supposed to be taking, right? That's what I was trying to say before I was rudely interrupted. Now, whether that's the case or not, I have no idea. I don't know. I'm sure the investigation took whatever containers he had in his home, right? Um, I don't know if ketamine is one of those kind of drugs that you get. Right, anxiety art adventure. Laura, with it being laced, I don't know that it would have been laced with anything because that would have shown up in his toxicology, that there would have been something else in it. But could it have been a more not diluted, but a more stronger than what it said it was, you know what I mean? Concentrated, I guess, is the word I'm trying to come up with. But I'm wondering if that's how it was. And with the investigation, can they check that? You know? It could have been untraced because I do know, Laura, that whenever they do the toxicology, they can't test for everything. They literally test for certain things unless something is requested, you know? I don't know much about drugs, just weed. Drugs are bad. Here, hold on. Here, hold on just a second. Drugs are bad.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So let me get back to this because I want to hear some more about what the doctor says here in a minute.
Another thing is that there can be a cocktail of drugs in people's system. Why was he, Matthew Perry, so OD'd? What happened? Well, our friend Dr. William Maroney, an expert in opioids, weighs in.
What you have is a cocktail of disaster because you probably are dealing with multiple doctors that are not communicating. Nobody's coordinating his care. And if he's getting ketamine, as it said in the autopsy, there's ketamine contents in the stomach that would be ketamine pills. That's a rogue doctor, somebody outside of good practice guidelines giving pills they have no business giving in addition to ketamine treatment.
And to Dr. Maroney, what do you mean by rogue clinics?
These are rogue doctors in rogue clinics. The only doctor that's probably legitimate here is the one giving the buprenorphine. That's the hardest word to say, but in order to do that, you have
The buprenorphine. There we go. So ketamine here, an anesthetic hallucinogen, causes state of sedation, immobility, pain relief, and amnesia. Doctor uses are general anesthetic, off-label depression treatment. Now, the depression treatment is what he was being given the infusions for. And with an overdose, there's unconsciousness and dangerously slowed breathing. So, whenever this dude that's talking to Nancy at this point, he mentioned something about pills. Now, I don't know. They were showing the bottles of the liquid. So, I don't know if he was actually taking pills of it or if he was, you know, um, injecting his own self with it, right? Laura says, I think any doctor that is treating Matthew Perry probably gave him whatever he wanted. That's kind of the same thing with Michael Jackson. That's, he had that doctor on his payroll, right?
have to have training. The rest of these people doing ketamine, rogue. They're outside the law. They're outside good practice. We saw this with Anna Nicole Smith, Michael Jackson, Prince, all these rogue doctors treating all these celebrities, and you don't know who's around them.
You know, another interesting thing as I was researching in the night and early this morning
Right.
regarding Matthew Perry, it's very disturbing to me. Dr. Bethany Marshall is joining us, renowned psychoanalyst in the LA area, and a book, Deal Breaker, When to Work on a Relationship and When to Walk Away. And you can find her at drbethanymarshall.com. Dr. Bethany, when I was researching Matthew Perry early this morning, you know what comes up? First thing, Matthew Perry had more than $1.5 million in his personal bank account. Matthew Perry is broke at the time of death. Matthew Perry has nearly $2 million. Blah, blah, blah. Does anybody care other than this panel about what happened to Matthew Perry? After his death, people came out of the woodwork saying, oh, he's a horrible person. Oh, he's a wonderful person. And now it's all about his money. The ketamine.
What she's getting ready to start talking about, oh, it hurts my heart. But with the money, you hear everything in the world. Personally, I could care less. what kind of money he had when he died. Could not care any less anymore, right? I couldn't. Steph says I'm 9 minutes behind and Aiden is acquired. Yay! He wants to hang out tonight, so I may have to hop off when we get home. No worries, Steph. No worries. And yes, there was a troll, but the troll has been handled. We're good in the hood.
It's about his death. How did he get the drugs? Why was he OD'd? I mean, this guy, it was a TV
Right.
superstar, a movie star. Did nobody care about him? Did nobody care about what happened to him? Did his friends just stand by and watch him OD into oblivion over and over and over? It's like vultures, harpies picking at his bones at this juncture. The fact is, this could have been prevented and he could have lived, Dr. Bethany. But now the headline, he had nearly $2 million in his bank account at the time of his death.
Nancy, this is the worst form of what I call othering, just turning him into the dangerous other or the.
I've never heard of this phrase before, othering. I'd never heard of this before, but Nancy hadn't either, apparently. And Dr. Bethany Marshall explains what that means, and then it makes sense. But yeah, yes, Mona. Is her comment still there, you guys? Do I need to add another moderator? Margaret, are you available? Or can you get it, Steph? Scroll up there. She's the one that said something about me getting on with it. You can delete that comment and block her. Okay, let's go.
The poor other or the enviable other, somebody with whom you have no relationship. All these people who watched Friends all of those years, they felt attached to him. They felt a sense of love, a sense of admiration. But now they've kicked him off the pedestal and they have him writhing on the ground and they're vilifying the victim because these celebrities who have
Margaret.
a lot of money notoriously get the worst care. I see this in my practice all the time because what happens is if they're suffering from addiction and one doctor limits them or says, I'm sorry, I'm not going to prescribe this for you because you have a propensity towards addiction, they can just go find another one.
Who are we talking about? Who is under criminal investigation? Well, listen, I can tell you this much. When the LAPD, the DEA, and the U.S. Postal Service are up your tailpipe, you're in trouble.
Or as my mom used to say, you're in trouble, Birdsong. You're in trouble, Birdsong. Hi, Ma. Tell Ma hi, Margaret. I mean, I wouldn't want. Yeah, I mean, the police department, LAPD, right? It's the police department. Meh, whatever, right? But the DEA or officials from the United States Postal Service pecking on my door, like with sunglasses on and badges and stuff, I would be like, ooh,
I am telling you, those are three very, very powerful law enforcement agencies. And don't underestimate the UPS, the U.S. Postal Service. We always hear about mobsters committing murders, drug trafficking, human trafficking. You know who can bring down a mobster in a New York minute? The U.S. Postal Service. Why do we need them? Not just to get our mail, because they help prove wire fraud. And they help prove fraud through the mail, which is a federal offense. Look, I can try a guy for crack cocaine or for heroin, selling opioids. But what about the guys that send it in a FedEx? What about the guys that mail it, that send money through the mail or other means? them. So LAPD, the DEA, and the U.S. Postal Service are on this case. So, something's about to go down. And Dr. Bethany Marshall, let me just ask you a quick question.
Yeah, and they also say that this investigation is wrapping up. Oh, hold on. I got a visitor coming in the door. Hold on. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Husband is taking off for a little bit to run some errands in town, and the kiddos are running around, so I'll leave my camera off for a little bit, but because I don't, like to have the camera on when the kiddos are running in and out. But polls, and what are we talking about? Polls, Steph? Ketamine pills is what's on the streets. Special K allegedly Brooke supplied them. Well, see, we don't know. We don't know. And they say in this video here with Nancy Grace that they don't know specifically that Brooke or the other female celebrity supplied him with them. We don't know that. I mean, it could be that they did, but then it could be that they're, using them to find information on where he could have gotten them if they get them from the same person or place. So we don't know 100% that they came from her or the other female yet. All right. Let me go on.
You refer to othering. I've never heard that before. Did you make that up?
No, I mean, it's really, in terms of racial injustice studies, that's a frequent word that's used where you turn somebody of another race into an other, a person for whom you have no empathy or understanding. You don't see them as their own person in their own right, but we do it within our own race too. You can other an older person or somebody who's disabled or somebody who's young. And I think that means just really not caring about them, just looking at superficial features, but also envy is at the core of othering. When you really are envious of another person's accomplishments, you just stomp on them and you just knock them off their pedestal. And it's something we human beings.
Oh my gosh, you guys, I just noticed that this photo of him is him using a banana as a telephone. When I watched this last night, I really thought he was on the phone. I wasn't paying enough attention, but then I looked at him like it's a stinking banana. I love him so much. And his t-shirt says, "Could this be any more of a t-shirt?" I loved it. I love it. I love him.
Stomp on them and you just knock them off their pedestal. And it's something we human beings sadly are prone to doing.
You know, Dr. Bethany, I could talk to you all day long about what is wrong with people. Why do we love somebody so much and then just want to destroy them and talk badly about them after their death, the way people are Matthew Perry? I don't know if what they're saying is true or not about many of the allegations made against him after his death, but I think this is hardly the time to go for him. I mean, he's
People
dead.
lose sight.
He
People, first of all
clearly
those
had an
all those
accidental death.
Mhm. All those online reports of people's wealth are untrue. Often in my clinical practice, if I have a celebrity patient, and they tell me something about their financials, I'll look it up online, and there's just a wild variance between what they report and what's online. Usually online, it is very, very inflated. Also, you know, in terms of Matthew Perry, we want our celebrities to be successful enough that we admire them and we identify with them, but not so successful that we envy them and feel that we can never have what they have.
When she talks about this, about Nancy Grace, this is what I was talking about a minute ago whenever I said that what she was getting ready to talk about hurt my heart. But like, she's talking about how people are talking bad about him after his death. And I mean, maybe I'm just under a rock. That's very possible that I'm like, you know, what rock am I sitting under? But I don't see that. Um, I can't imagine anyone talking bad about him. Maybe I'm just naive. I know I am, but I just can't fathom anyone talking bad about him. And when Dr. Bethany Marshall talks about the um, you want your celebrities to be, you know, great enough to for us to love them, but not so great that or so um successful that we envy them. Like, I mean, I don't envy. I mean, I'm sure there are people that are, you know, like I said, I'm not going to be naive about that part, but I don't know. Hi, Terry. Terry, welcome, welcome. She says, I didn't watch. Well, I say she. I don't know if Terry is a man or a woman, but either way, Terry says, I didn't watch Friends until it was in reruns. I ended up loving it. I haven't heard anything bad about him. I love the show too. Um, love, love, love it. Female. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. I assumed it. But you know what they say about assumptions, right? Okay. Love you, hun. Have a great weekend. And you stay cool too. Thank you, husband, for shaving 30 seconds off my behindedness. Oh, you're so funny. Okay.
And so I think his meteoric rise, the fact that he's so beloved, so talented as an actor, and so likable and relatable makes people envious. And that's when they start to devalue and put him down.
Well, I can tell you this much. He may have money and fame, but when you are addicted to drugs, your life is hell. I don't care who you are. It's hell. Hell. You know, Dr. Ernest Chiodo is joining us, and I want to follow up with you, Mike McCormick and Wendy Patrick, because I'm really interested. I'm anxious to find out who is being criminally investigated. Are charged, criminal charges looming in Matthew Perry's case? I've heard a lot of rumors that I can't report because I can't confirm them about who is being targeted. I know some of the people that have been questioned, but charges like this would have to be something like an involuntary manslaughter, producing or manufacturing or distributing drugs. There are so many different ways to go, but what I want to talk about right now, Dr. Ernest Chiodo, who is a renowned toxicologist, a physician, biomedical engineer, attorney, and author. Wait, did I get it all? Hold on. Let me make sure. Toxicologist, medical doctor, biomedical engineer, attorney, and author of Toxic Torque, Medical and Legal Elements. Wow. When do you have time to breathe?
Well, it's a mouthful.
Dr. Chiodo, thank you for being with us. I want to talk about the side effects
Mm.
of ketamine K, which has long been used by veterinarians on animals. And I want to talk about what somebody said earlier, rogue doctors. Oh, it was Dr. William Maroney, renowned toxicologist who specializes in opioids. He's the author of American Narcan. And Dr. Chiodo, side effects of ketamine, would they make you angry? Because a lot of the people that crawled out of the woodwork after Matthew Perry's death said, oh, he was violent. Well,
I've never heard that either. Has anybody heard that Matthew Perry was violent? Never heard that. I've never heard that. Also, when and who, I mean, the medication ketamine started out as a drug that veterinarians would use. When did it become something that, doctors were like, "Ooh, this will work for humans too," When did that happen? I don't know. Corbin Dioxide says, "I've never heard him being violent. That's wild." Yeah, I've not heard it either. I've never heard that. Not saying it hasn't been said. I haven't heard it.
he never struck me that way, but we don't know how he was in person. What would be some of the side effects of ketamine?
Well, ketamine is not an opiate. It's a phencyclidine.
Oh, okay. Stop
what it
right
would
there.
cause-
Okay, hold on. Okay, wait. Yes, let me just put it out there. You know more than me. I don't know what you just said. I'm going to have to write it phonetically. What did you say? It's a what?
It's a phencyclidine. It's not an opiate. So
A
it doesn't have
phencyclidine. Okay.
yeah, so it doesn't it's not an opiate. So it's not
I love how Nancy's she does this often whenever experts start like word salad, word vomiting, and she's like, "You're smarter than me in this department. Explain to me what this is. I don't know and I need to know." I love that about her. I love me some Nancy. Right, Patricia? It's a what? She said.
going to act like fentanyl or morphine or heroin that causes respiratory depression and death. Actually, it stimulates your respiration and increases your heart rate and blood pressure. So, so from a standpoint of something that's going to cause death, that's not the issue. It can cause feelings of dissociation, out of body type of experiences, and that's part of why it's used recreationally, but also why it's used in treatment of depression and anxiety. But as far as it actually causing an overdose death, no, I don't think that's the case.
This is what we know. His death included drowning, the effects of buprenorphine, a drug that treats opioid addiction, his use of ketamine, the amount of ketamine in his bloodstream was equivalent to that used in general anesthesia, according to the Times. That means.
Okay, so again, this makes me think of Michael Jackson. You guys remember back, gosh, I don't even know how many years ago it's been since Michael Jackson died. But the situation with him was that he was basically whatever, I can't remember the name of the doctor that he had on standby, but that doctor basically was a live-in, right? Does anybody remember that doctor's name? He got big time charges over that. But he was like giving Michael Jackson doses to basically keep him knocked out 24/7. That sounds about right, Patricia. That sounds about right. It's been a long time. I remember he died really close in proximity to one of my aunts. 2009. Okay. You were close. You were close. But yeah, that makes me think of the general anesthesia part makes me think of Michael Jackson.
When he was in that hot tub, he might as well have been hooked up to propofol or general anesthesia. I mean, that is a lot. So
Okay, and here they just put up this this was the Facebook post that he made that night. And it's again the picture of him in the hot tub. You can tell he's like backed up into that corner. It looks like he's got like headphones on, and his name, I guess, or his handle was Matty Perry 4. And it says, "Oh, so warm water swirling around makes you feel good?" Question mark. Oh, okay. I see. He says that as a question. Never mind. It says, "Oh, so warm water swirling around makes you feel good?" And then he says, "I'm Matt Man."
So to you, Mike McCormick, lead investigator, MCM Investigations in LA. This is your neck of the woods. And you can find him at M Mother C Curry M Mother Investigations. Mike McCormick, listen to this. A criminal investigation is being launched to figure out the source of the drugs.
That's going to take a little more investigation, but there's other people involved also. And the Health and Safety Code 11350 and 11365 would be a couple of the charges that they would probably end up filing against the individuals who distributed or provided the ketamine to Matthew.
A criminal investigation into actor.
Oh, really? Steph, I don't remember that. She said Michael used to call the drug his milk. And yes, Conrad Murray was his name. That's right. That's right. And maybe that post was an Instagram post instead of Facebook. I'm not positive. Because those other photos of him were sources from Instagram, and his name was Matty Perry 4 there as well. So
Matthew Perry's death is near conclusion. Dealers could face charges.
let me play this again, because this is where they say that the investigation is nearing the end.
A criminal investigation into actor Matthew Perry's death is near conclusion. Dealers could face charges.
Who's facing charges? Not just in Hollywood, in LA, but everywhere. Once people that are suppliers, even if they're friends of the victim, are going to be prosecuted. And once that begins happening, I believe that we will have less OD deaths, such as what we're seeing with Matthew Perry, who is being prosecuted. This is what we know. Listen.
Brooke Mueller isn't home when police serve a search warrant at her sober living residence. However, sources.
Okay, this is where they're talking about Brooke Mueller, Charlie Sheen's ex-wife. They served the search warrant. She's not at home. Um, there's that picture of him with that banana again. I love that picture.
Is being prosecuted. This is what we know. Listen.
Brooke Mueller isn't home when police serve a search warrant at her sober living residence. However, sources indicate Mueller is completely cooperative with law enforcement, and when she arrives home, she's not handcuffed while talking to police. This is not the first time Mueller has spoken with investigators in the Matthew Perry case, but this time, authorities seize her iPhone and laptop.
Okay, that's not good when law enforcement takes your cell phone and your laptop. But again, Brooke Mueller has not been charged. And yes, she was married to Charlie Sheen. And yes, they have twins together. Yes, she has been in and out of rehab. She dated, and I think the loose sense of the word, Matthew Perry. What more do we know? Listen.
Brooke Mueller has retained a lawyer for help in navigating the multiple meetings she's having with law enforcement, and she's remaining tight-lipped about the situation. An insider tells In Touch, it's tough to say or know exactly what her role is in Matthew Perry's death, but Mueller is adamant she has nothing to do with it.
Again, Brooke Mueller, a mother, a former wife, in and out of rehab, fighting her demons, did date Matthew Perry.
It says Brooke Mueller's statement. Ms. Mueller's past choices may have put her in a position to provide some incidental, anecdotal background to the authorities investigating Mr. Perry's death. Nothing more. Her attorney.
We are told, but has not been named as a defendant in this case. Wendy Patrick joining me, California prosecutor, president, founder of Black Swan Verdicts, and author of her third book. This one's new, Why Bad Looks Good. And you can find her at wendypatrickphd.com. She's also, again, you're like Scioto. I don't know how you do this, but she's also host of Today with Dr. Wendy, KCBQ San Diego. Wendy, that's a mouthful. Now, can we get off of your huge resume and on to Matthew Perry? What do you make of this? I mean, I would be worried if I saw the DEA picking through my trash through my kitchen window. I wouldn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
No, definitely not. And especially when you put it in combination with those other two powerhouse organizations. I mean, they obviously have enough evidence to be conducting an investigation.
That's my thing. That's my takeaway. You're not, they must have something. They must have something for them to kickstart an investigation with those three agencies, right? I mean, and as one of these people mentioned here in a little bit, they had, in order for them to have gotten a search warrant for Brooke Mueller's place or whatever, there had to have been enough probable cause for the judge to sign that search warrant, right? So that makes me a little bit like,
Whether somebody mailed him the drugs, whether somebody gave him the drugs because they thought they were doing him a favor. As you mentioned earlier, they're not looking for a murder suspect. They're looking for an involuntary manslaughter suspect or who may have facilitated this drug overdose along the way. And I do have to say, Nancy, I too have been following what people are saying after the fact. And, you know, he's also so relatable because so many of us know somebody who has struggled with addiction, a family member, a coworker, a friend. And that's one of the reasons that.
All right. So put a 1 in the chat if you or a family member has ever struggled with addiction. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'm waiting. put a 1 in the chat if you or a family member, and I'm going to say a family member because that's the closest to us, right? Either ourselves or a family member has struggled with addiction, whether drug or alcohol.
That investigators would look at who saw him last, who spoke to him last, what deliveries came that day. But you're right. When you have those agencies involved, you already know that there's enough evidence to be able to at least follow trails, hopefully leading to some suspects and some justice.
You know, Dr. Bethany Marshall, I'm going to jump off what Wendy Patrick just said. Dr. Bethany, you, I don't believe, have ever heard me be an apologist for a supplier, ever. I remember stay with me on this, the first time I saw a DUI habitual violator, which means you've had so many DUIs, which are misdemeanors, you finally get a felony, you graduate to big court. And the defendant came
Graduate to
in,
big court.
she was in shackles and prison blues. She was beautiful, soft-spoken, college degree, had been a stockbroker at one of the big stock brokerage firms. And she had become an alcoholic. She lost her husband, her 3 children, no more custody. You have to have special, like a lawyer has to have a law degree, and you have to be certified by the bar to practice. She lost all of her certification, no more stock brokerage ever, because you can't have a drunk broker because they may take your money. You don't know what they'll do. She lost everything because of addiction. And she was standing alone in that courtroom, all alone, no family, nobody, taking a guilty plea.
It's another story of hers that I love when she pulls them out of her, memories. That's again, that's one of the reasons why I love her so much, is because she's really great at making you feel like you can relate to her,
And that was the first time. I mean, my parents, like me, my mother anyway, my father was not afraid of a cocktail. Teetotalers, totally, right? And I saw for the first time what addiction does to you. You think she wanted to go through life without her children? That you might as well take a dagger and stab me in the heart, Dr. Bethany, to take me away from the twins. Lost everything.
Nancy,
But so I don't apologize for suppliers, but addicts give each other drugs. And I don't know whether to feel sorry for them or to throw them in jail.
Nancy, it's so difficult because addicts generally have a trail of devastation behind them. And usually they do alienate all of their loved ones and friends. And yet, ironically, it's social support that's the most key factor in sobriety. What you said about supplying each other drugs, it's true. Some people you do not want to put in psychotherapeutic groups together.
She's getting ready to talk about, Dr. Bethany is getting ready to talk about, like putting food addicts together in therapy together, or putting drug addicts together in therapy, or, because one can, they feed off each other easily.
Together. People with eating disorders, you don't want to put them in a group together. They'll just teach each other how to binge and purge. You don't want to put people who are anxious in a psychotherapy group together because they'll raise each other's anxiety. The same with people who are drug addicted. They do tend to supply each other drugs. And Nancy, I want to add that we're thinking of nefarious individuals supplying drugs to Matthew Perry. It could be his own legitimate doctor, the primary treater, because when you're prescribing a psychedelic agent psychotherapeutically for a patient, you have to do a full assessment to make sure that treatment was going to work. And if they're already addicted to that substance, you don't want to prescribe that substance to help them get better. It's counterintuitive. It's just malpractice.
Reminder to all, Brooke Mueller has not been charged in this case. For all I know, they had the same supplier. For all I know, they were talking on the phone about their addictions. For all I know, she was counseling him. I don't know why law enforcement has seized her phone and her laptop, but we're going to find out.
But we're going to find out.
Rescue 23, EMS 9. Agent 23, Rescue 23, EMS 9, all on radio. Respond to the drowning. Across the Surfview Drive. Agent 23, Rescue 23, EMS 9.
Friends actor Matthew Perry's ketamine overdose death under criminal investigation. Could Perry's celebrity friends be at fault?
Are criminal charges looming in the OD death of Friends star Matthew Perry, who passed away in his hot tub? He had so much ketamine in his system, it was equal to the amount you would have for general anesthesia. He was posting and texting about chillaxing in his hot tub just before his death. Clearly, this was an accident. Oh, so warm water swirling around you makes you feel good. I'm Matt Mann. Having a great evening, right? He died. Why did he die? An OD of ketamine. But I want to ask our doctor joining us, Dr. Ernest Chiodo, a renowned toxicologist, physician, biomedical engineer, and lawyer and author. I was reading his autopsy report, doctor, and I also say number one, COD, acute effects of ketamine, but I also see, this is a toughie, pancreatic fibrosis. What is that? Pancreatic fibrosis chronic.
They list a few other things she talks about here in a minute, which I hadn't heard. And I guess they probably just didn't mention them when his autopsy report came back, because they didn't, have anything to do with his death per se, But still, it was interesting to hear these other things. Just goes to show what effects drugs and alcohol can have on your, body long term.
Yeah, that's from alcohol abuse. He has damaged his pancreas from having had, probably because of alcohol, prior pancreatitis. That happens.
Gosh, okay.
Other than alcohol abuse, but it's something that's common with alcoholics.
Okay, pancreatic fibrosis chronic. And he also had nephrosclerosis of kidneys. What is nephrosclerosis of kidneys?
Nephrosclerosis of kidneys is where you have damage to the filtering elements of the kidneys, the elements of the kidneys that take the toxins, day-to-day toxins that we all develop in our body, and excrete them into the urine. So there was some kidney damage. What the cause of the kidney damage was, it's hard to say.
I see chronic hepatic congestion, liver, mild aplanomegaly. Okay, I'm sure that's not right, but you know what it is. What is it?
Yeah. Well, basically what's happened is he has some damage to his liver, again, likely from alcohol.
Okay, guys, I'm reading on in the external examination, and I remember Friends was huge. I was in law school and never got to watch TV, but everybody else watched it and loved him. And when I think about him with that big smile, and listen to this, the body is identified by toe tags and is that of an unembalmed, refrigerated adult male. It just seems so sad to me that he
Wow.
affected and touched so many people's lives, and now he's identified by a toe tag. Okay, what do we know about the criminal investigation? Is there a crime? Was he
That was hard to hear. Ugh, that was hard to hear. That's one thing about Nancy Grace. She's so I don't know. Sometimes it's like she likes to put those daggers out there, just to kind of force the reality, so to speak, I guess. Yeah.
attending rogue clinics that gave him too much ketamine, gave him access to too much ketamine? Did he doctor shop? Did doctors have a duty to find out whom else he was seeing? Was he going to different pharmacies to get ketamine and other drugs? Or did he have a drug supplier? Listen.
The decision to file charges or not in the death of Matthew Perry rests in the U.S. Attorney's Office. Some experts point to the involvement of the California branch of the Drug Enforcement Agency that federal authorities might be looking at distribution of a controlled substance resulting in death or conspiracy to distribute a controlled substance resulting in death charges. These types of charges are used to charge drug dealers, but can be used for pill mills and doctors who overprescribe narcotics without seeing patients.
And friends that continually give you a pipeline to drugs. When you think of a drug dealer, Wendy Patrick, California prosecutor, when you think of a drug dealer, you automatically think of, oh gosh, here's a good stereotype of somebody sitting in a big mansion with Rottweilers guarding the front door and, a big moat around their mansion so you can't get to him, and armed guards, maybe with a lot of gold chains. Yeah, it's not like that. It's not like that at all. The supplier could be your, and I'm definitely air quoting here, best friend, Wendy Patrick.
Great point, Nancy, because if we were to confine our investigation to stereotypes, we would no doubt never find the suspects.
Oh, that's such a good point. I love that she brought that up. I mean, I think the vast majority of us know this, right? But I still think it was a cool thing, a cool point for Nancy to bring up about the stereotypical drug dealers, right? Patricia says, that wasn't the picture in my imagination, Nancy. Oh, she's so cute. I love her.
That's one of the things that makes drug abuse so difficult and so challenging, specifically because drug dealers come in all shapes and sizes, and even that terminology can be misleading. You have cases where you have an addict sharing their pills with somebody that perhaps also has an addiction. You have people having legitimate prescriptions that they sell themselves. So there is no prototypical drug dealer that you need to look at. Rather, sometimes suspects are right under the noses of investigators that really broaden the search, particularly in a case like this where we're not talking about crack cocaine. We're talking about a drug that is regularly, talk about air quotes, at least in some circles, and for depression, prescribed legitimately by physicians. Now, the onus becomes the physician can only make a smart prescribing decision under the physician's creed of do no harm if they know whether or not that patient is also receiving prescriptions from other places. Are they prone to addiction? Do they have a history of drug or alcohol abuse? So all those factors go into the prescribing decision, which itself can be complicated by there will be no record of, in addition to what you get legitimately, whether or not somebody is receiving drugs from associates, from friends, or from so-called dealers on the street.
Actor Matthew Perry dead. A tragic ketamine overdose and hot tub drowning. Who gave Perry the lethal drugs?
Okay, right now we know that Brooke Mueller was once romantically involved with Perry and that they were still in touch at the time of his death. But we didn't know this. Listen.
Brooke Mueller has retained a lawyer for help in navigating the multiple meetings she's having with law enforcement, and she's remaining tight-lipped about the situation. An insider tells In Touch, it's tough to say or know exactly what her role is in Matthew Perry's death, but Mueller is adamant she has nothing to do with it.
And again, Lauren Collin, I don't want to convict Brooke Mueller. All right. This
No.
woman is trying to make a go of her life in sober living. I want to get the right person, not just any person. Also, you have the other issues, Lauren Collin, of was he doctor shopping? Was he going to rogue clinics? We don't know that, but for some reason, we know LA law enforcement seized her laptop and phone. Lauren Collin, what more do we know? Because I think I'm sure that she has never been arrested or handcuffed during any of these inquiries. The fact that she hired a lawyer, I mean, I think everybody in LA has a lawyer on retainer. Why? I don't know that, but that's not shocking to me.
No, Nancy, I was just going to say that. Everybody needs to stop acting like someone's guilty because they lawyer up. Everybody should lawyer up, like you just said. But no, I want to point out the FBI truly believes that.
You better bet if I was in LA or any big city and I was a celebrity of sorts, I would have a lawyer, right? Like, always. Always.
That Matthew Perry or someone in his quote inner circle was doctor shopping to multiple physicians in different states to obtain the ketamine and have those doctors send prescriptions across state lines. Perhaps that's the case, but this is a federal offense. So for whatever reason, Brooke Mueller is the only name that they have released. And I agree with you. She is being questioned, she's cooperating, but she's not necessarily a suspect.
Although I've got to agree also with Mike McCormick, Wendy Patrick, because when the authorities keep coming back to you and coming back to you, that's a concern in an investigation. You would have thought that she would have handed over her phone and laptop, cooperated with them, and we've been told she is cooperating, and that would be the end of it. But it could be as simple as, did they at one time have the same supplier? What were they talking about? I don't know, but it does raise a red flag, Wendy Patrick, that they continue to question her.
Yeah, it sounds almost like because the two of them knew each other from a rehab facility, that perhaps they shared a lot of information, in addition to sharing mutual friends that may have themselves relapsed. And therein lies where an investigation needs to go, is to how much information can she continue to provide once they are also investigating leads from other places that they can then go back and ask supplement questions. Doesn't mean she's a suspect at all. It means she may have the kind of information that would be valuable for them to continue to follow up on. Then when they find out new facts, she can corroborate, she can admit, deny. Remember, she's been cooperative. And that is what we have to view in terms of turning over the phone and the laptop, whether they were seized, whether she gave them voluntarily. It means that there's something in her past as well that may be instrumental, not incriminating necessarily with respect to her, but instrumental in law enforcement finding who's to blame. And the ultimate question, where did he get the drugs?
We are being told that the criminal investigation into Matthew Perry's death is, quote, wrapping up. Are charges to follow? Another issue is that when they showed up to meet with her at her sober living house, they had a search warrant with them. Now, I can tell you this much. When I went to interview witnesses in every square inch of the city of Atlanta and Fulton County, I usually did not take a search warrant. I'd knock on the door, they'd let me in, we'd sit down and talk, and I'd make notes, we'd have iced tea, and that would be that. Once in a while, I'd have a subpoena with me to personally deliver it to them for them to come to court, or a subpoena ducis tecum for documents to come to court, but not a search warrant. That is a subtle but very important distinction. It means they go to her for a reason. They are seeking something. You have to have a search warrant to enter a defendant's home, or to really for police to enter any home. You've got to have a search warrant. They're looking for something directly connected to a criminal investigation. That's what a search warrant is.
That is like the $1 million question, right? What is it that they're looking for? And what did, to put it like Lally, what if anything did they find? Did they find what they were looking for? That's what I would like to know.
That's right. And it has to be supported by sufficient facts and circumstances to justify a judge having granted it. And that's important here, because you think about all of what was in that affidavit. They would have had to explain what they're looking for, what their experience is, and why they think that they're going to find it on her devices, whether it's a phone, whether it's a laptop. You can't just go out and get a search warrant. You need to do all the background investigation that allows you to articulate with specificity what you're looking for, why you think it's going to be there, and then of course you need a judge to agree to all of that. So you have to imagine a lot of that background information that they already did led them to that point.
The criminal investigation into the death of Friends star Matthew Perry is ongoing. We have been told it's very close to being, quote, wrapped up. Will there be criminal charges as it relates to Perry's death? Right now, we know that his former girlfriend, sweetheart, Brooke Mueller, has been questioned repeatedly pursuant to search warrant. She has not been named a target in the investigation. Perry himself wrote about his addiction. Listen.
Matthew Perry wrote about his issues with addiction to alcohol and drugs. In his memoir, he said he began drinking at 14 and was an alcoholic by 18. Perry first went to rehab and completed a 28-day program at Hazelden.
Wow. Started drinking at 14 and was a full-blown alcoholic at 18 years old. Jeez Louise.
Betty Ford Foundation after a jet ski accident led to an addiction to Vicodin. In his 2022 memoir, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing, Perry claimed to have been to rehab 15 times, detox 65 times, and spent about $7 to $9 million trying to get sober.
You tell me that somebody will spend that much time and that much money trying to get sober doesn't want to be sober. Right? Wow.
You know what? I don't care about the money or the fame this guy had. He was living in hell, trying to get out from under addiction. Okay, we know about him, but who is she, Lauren Conlon, in a nutshell? Brooke Mueller.
Yes, Brooke Mueller is from Florida. She was actually born in upstate New York. She had a very wealthy stepfather, and that led to her pretty much pursuing whatever she wanted. She became friends with Paris Hilton. She did reality TV. She was an actress at one point, and then she did some real estate development, and she ended up meeting Charlie Sheen.
So to Dr. Bethany Marshall, that makes many of us regular mortals wonder, when people have so much money, born with a silver spoon in their mouths, I don't know that he was necessarily born with a single silver spoon in his mouth, but he became a superstar. Money, fame, suck-ups all around you, seemingly having everything. Why drug addiction?
You know, Nancy, drug addiction is very biologically motivated. You know, there's so much talk about trauma and family dysfunction and all the things that happen situationally that prime people for addiction. But basically, there's a very strong biological component. So let's say you have the predisposition for addiction And then you have, to quote you, suck ups all around you that really want you to not be aware of what's going on. Maybe con artists, maybe an agent or a manager who wants to push you into jobs you're not ready for. What is the best way to render somebody unaware of what you're doing if you want to take advantage of them? Supply them with drugs. Then they'll pay you, then you'll be their best friend. And doctors are not immune from this. We saw this.
Talking about that, that's one question that's been asked over and over and over throughout all these years about why is it that these celebrities always end up becoming addicts, dying from overdoses. And then but for me, I think that the reason is they can't handle the the status, for one, especially when they are child actors. But when you think about it, they have an endless supply of money, right? They have an endless supply of money, and that endless supply of money buys them endless supplies of drugs and or alcohol. And it's like the sky's the limit, And I think that's the money, and the endless supply of the money is the biggest factor for me.
With Michael Jackson, celebrities, when they have this horrible, horrible disease state, they will go from one person to another until they find somebody who will supply them. And Nancy, I just want your audience to know that when an addict or a person suffering from addiction has had some period of sobriety, the next time they use, they will binge. Okay, that is so commonly known in the field. So let's take Whitney Houston. She may have been sober for a while before she had her, overdose when she came to Los Angeles. We could have seen this with Prince. So he was in an enormously vulnerable state because he was trying to get sober. So there was probably a big yo-yo between sobriety, binging, and that became a perfect storm that led to his death.
It makes people wonder if superstars like Matthew Perry and actress Brooke Mueller, with all that money, can't be happy and resort to drugs and become addicts. What hope is there for the rest of us? You know what? I'm going to stick with being a teetotaler. I'm not even going to put my toe in that pond. We wait as justice unfolds and this criminal investigation into the death of Friends star Matthew Perry comes to a culmination. But right now we stop and we remember an American hero, police officer Peter E.C. Jerving, Milwaukee PD, Wisconsin.
It's another reason why I love Nancy. She always, gives a sign off with an American hero. I just think that that's always super cool that she does that. But she talks about waiting patiently. I am not waiting patiently. I want to know what has been found in this investigation. I want to know. I want to know what they're finding out and who's to blame if there's blame to be placed elsewhere besides Matthew Perry, right? So that's what I would like to know. And I plan to keep you guys informed as I find things out, right? That's the plan. I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for any updates on this situation here. But if you guys hear anything, let me know. Because several sets of eyes are better than just one, right? And if for whatever reason this ends up going to some sort of a trial, I'm going to be here for it. Steph said last night, she's like, yo, if there's a trial and you don't cover it, I'm leaving the Crime Cafe. I'm like, honey, you don't have to worry about that. I'll be all over that. 100%. Could I be any more on top of the trial stuff? No. I'm going to be right on top of it. So, but you guys, I'm going to get out of here. It is Friday. I hope that you guys had a fantastic 4th of July. That is my hope. I hope you guys had a fantastic 4th of July. I'm back on the camera. Hi. But I'm going to scooch on out of here and get some stuff done before it gets much later and darker outside. Oh, thank you, Terry. Terry says new subscriber here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I would love, before we hang out or hang up, I'm going to make a list right now. I would love for you guys in the chat to give me some cases that you are interested in us potentially looking into. There's a handful of things that I want to get into. This past week, we talked a lot about Alexi Treviso. Sorry if I just made anyone's machines go off. I apologize. Yeah, we are happy to have you here, Terry. Absolutely. Either, Steph. I mean, we do cover a lot of trials here, from beginning to end. Usually when we start a trial, we'll follow through from beginning to end. But whenever we do cover trials, that doesn't leave me time to have case discussions with you guys, because trials are hours and hours and hours a day, right? Every day, usually. You have a good weekend too, Patricia. But yeah, I would love for you guys to let me know in the chat what stories or cases I know Steph was talking about, was it Sherry Papini? I can't never say her name right. But yeah, either things that are going to trial or just suspicious, either one. I want to talk about Stephen Stearns and the whole Madeline Soto stuff. I want to talk to you guys about this gal named Rachel Sheridan. I'm keeping my eye on another little girl that went missing and was found. Her body was found yesterday, and her name is Serenity Kinsey. Sherry Papini. But yeah, I would love to know what are some things that you guys would like to talk about. Would love to know. She got out in August last summer, but the ex-husband dropped some bombs in his Hulu doc. Yeah. Yikes. Definitely need to look into that one. But if you guys that are watching on the replay, if you've made it this far and you want to put a comment of something you would like to discuss or talk about, something you want me to look into, let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section down below if you're watching this on the replay. Because I'm making a list and yeah. I want to look into some stuff. So if Lexi Treviso's trial actually goes on next month, we'll be covering that trial. If it's televised. I don't know if they're going to have cameras in the courtroom, if they're going to stream it. I have no idea. But if they do, then I'll be watching and covering that one for sure. So, but other than that, I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to enjoy the rest of my weekend. I hope you guys do too. So make sure to give the video a thumbs up before you leave. Hi and welcome to the new subscribers. Thank you for hanging out with us. Jocelyn Nungare. I've seen that name. Jocelyn Nungare. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Thank you, Miss King. But yeah, make sure you do all the YouTube things. Like, subscribe, share me with your friends. If you've got true crime friends, 12-year-old from Texas. Ay. Okay. All right. I've seen the last names looks and sounds familiar. But I don't really know anything about that one. So I'll have to look into that. But I hope you guys have a great weekend. Stay safe out there. And we'll see you back on Monday. The Lord's willing and the creek don't rise, right? All right. I love you guys. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.